Today, we are going to be discussing domain and range. So, what we're learning is what is a domain, what is a range, how do they relate to a function, and how do they relate to independent and dependent variables. So let's start with a domain. What is a domain exactly? If you recall from class or from another video, a domain is a set of input values. These are seen as your x values or your x coordinates. So in the example below, where they have those fancy brackets, those are telling you that those 4 points are a set. So the first number in each of the ordered pairs is that x coordinate or that x value. Those will compose your domain. So what is a range? A range is the set of output values. Those are seen as your y values or your y coordinates. In the set below, how the domain was those first numbers in an ordered pair, the range is going to be that second number, those y coordinates in the ordered pairs. How do they relate to a function? Well, if we take a look at the picture, we see the domain is what's going into the function, into that blue square. Then we see that what's coming out of the function is that range. So the domain or the inputs are what's going into the function. And the range or the outputs are what's coming out of the function. So how do they relate to independent variables? The domain or the inputs are what's going into that function. The domain would be the independent variables. But why is that exactly? The domain is what's going into the function. It is not going to be affected by the function. So if the function was to change, the domain or the inputs are not going to be affected by that. On the other side, how do they relate to dependent variables? The range or the outputs are what comes out of that function. So the range would be dependent variables. But why? The range is what's coming out of that function. Therefore, it's directly affected by the function. So if the function is to change in any way, that output or that range is directly affected by the change of the function. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask your teacher.